Warning, this video contains mature topics revolving around virtual nudity, sex, and violence. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ink Ribbon.
This painting is titled The Scream, and it was painted by Edward Munch in 1893, and it's my favorite painting. This is Resident Evil 2, created by Shinji Mikami and developed by Capcom, and it's my favorite video game. Yes, I consider video games to be an art form just as much as paintings. Art is something that affects its viewer, either mentally or physically or psychologically, or in some way it moves them. And chances are, if you're watching this, you're a gamer and there's been a video game that has moved you in one way or another. Since the dawn of art, nudity has always been a part of it, as has violence. From the Statue of David to the 3rd of May by Francisco Goya, we have always seen both sides of humanity. Fast forward to modern day and we are now killing virtual people without hesitation, and it's no big deal. But if you show too many boobs or penises, your game gets an adults only rating and it effectively prevents you from selling it. But is that the way it should be? I mean, the media is very quick to blame everything from school shootings to bad behavior on violence in video games, which has been disproven multiple times, by the way. And never once do they say anything about violence in movies or even violence in lyrics. But, speaking of movies, I find it interesting that movies show nudity and gratuitous sex and apparently it's no big deal. So there are a few games that feature nudity and somehow got away with it. The first game that comes to mind is God of War. Probably one of the first games that proudly featured a pair of honkers totally exposed for all to see, and given that the game takes place in ancient Greek mythology, that's totally fine. But here's the thing, the boobs I get, but the threesome minigame? Why did they get away with that, but GTA's hot coffee content was too much? Anyway, that's a topic for a different day, but the in-game nudity that gave me the idea for this video was in the game D2 for the Dreamcast. I was playing the game, killing monsters, when suddenly, bam, the titties were out. It was surprising because the game came out in 2000. It was unexpected, but it was also weirdly comforting. Not for perverted reasons, but because it added to the atmosphere. Just like in Metal Gear Solid when Johnny is found naked and unconscious, or when Trevor whips out his dick at any random time in Grand Theft Auto, it's immersive. Not Trevor's penis, the nudity. So, let's raise the question. Should games have nudity? To be fair, I'm going to look at this from both angles, starting with the cons. The first one is obviously with the age and demographic of video games, which is typically younger males, and since it's pretty common for kids to get a hold of games that they aren't old enough to play, this would include nudity that isn't appropriate for them. Just like movies, games aim to have lower ratings when at all possible, so that more consumers, namely younger ones, will have access to their game. Now when it comes to the pros, while younger kids may not be ready for nudity, with the internet and the amount of kids with iPads these days, it's pretty much impossible to keep them from looking stuff up. Don't believe me? Ask any current parent what they found in their kid's search history. If they want to see this stuff, they will. And honestly, compared to what's on the internet, sex and nudity in games will be much more tame. Now there's definitely limits to nudity because too much can turn it into a weird adult game. But I think if used artistically and appropriately, nudity in games can make them more realistic, more immersive, and let's be honest, more fun to look at. I predict that it's only a matter of time before it becomes a normal thing in gaming, but I guess we will have to wait and see. So how do you feel about nudity in video games? Are you for it or are you against it? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, then check out my other videos and feel free to subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to check out the community tab where you can vote on future videos. I'm Kai Morgan, and as always, thanks for watching Ink Ribbon. And a very special thank you to the following Patreon supporters. Your support means so much to me. Thank you.